Song finished.
Who's trying to hum?
Play the whole song. Play the whole song.
This song's lit.
Diplo, watching a Diplo.
Yo, what's up? Welcome. Wait.
I thought I was introducing.
Shoot. Alright, you go.
Don't go excited, huh?
Welcome back to another episode
I don't like it.
of
No,
the
you do it.
Disruption Podcast. It's your girl Maweezy.
How do we do this now? It's Chief Olasoji in the building, baby.
Snore, okay, Young Jollof Rice.
And it's
Everyone's choking. This threw everyone off.
I didn't know what to say.
Man said,
And you got the Prince,
yeah.
Carlos, in the building.
And today, we've got a special guest,
Hype woman of the year. Let's go, Mawa.
Miss Amer Athiu in the building.
What's up?
AKA
Hi,
Internet
guys.
Girls Club. Let's go.
That's what's up. Hi guys, thank you for having me.
Thank you
Welcome
for joining
to the
us.
podcast.
How you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yep. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Glad to have
Thank you for coming down.
Yeah.
I think real quick, what is Internet Girls Club actually? Now that Miles brought it out there.
It's my Instagram hashtag,
Mm.
and I don't know. It's a bit of a weird story on how I kind of came up with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I was like probably straight out of high school. So it was like a couple of years back, and it was just a thought that came to mind, and then came as like my Instagram hashtag. It's not really deep. It's just like it flew, like it kind of flows with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah,
I think that's probably me with like Chief Olasoji. I don't think
Yeah.
yeah. It's
You're
just
stuck
cool.
with
it's
it.
stuck. Yeah, one of the
it's
ones that
stuck.
just stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's me with Prince as well.
Okay.
I don't think anyone calls
no,
that.
no one calls
No
me.
one knows you
Why
by
are you
that.
not on
Everyone knows me about it.
Nah, not you, man.
That's crazy.
Would you like to tell us about yourself or tell the people about yourself? Because you do some dope things, but
Yeah.
it's interesting to hear from you.
For work, I do modeling. I got signed with Chadwick's about 2-3 years ago. So I do that for work. And study-wise, I study fashion design in uni, but I'm currently on a break. I recently just came back from travel from London, but that got cut short because of like the whole COVID-19.
It's Rona, man.
Yeah.
Was that work travel or?
Yeah, so at the end of last year, I signed with a London agency called Milk.
Wow.
And
I've heard of them.
yeah, so that's my little family up in London. And the contract kind of just requires you to do like certain seasonal in like industry stuff. So like Fashion Week would be one of them.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's just casual.
Requires, bro. I wouldn't, bro.
Big things.
Yo.
But there's requirements to it.
Yeah.
Like you have to be like a certain fit and all of that. So they flew me up in January, and it was for like a 3-month stay. So I was probably just like up there trying to break into their market. And then from there, it's like you can then like expand into the European market. So it was basically just like a introductory like stay, but that got interrupted sadly. But yes.
That is sick.
Yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
fun. Like work wise, it's really fun.
Yeah.
And I think when I first got into it, I didn't really see probably this deep into like the scope of it and like what it would do for me or and like where it would take me. So that's been really fun exploring that. And that kind of really just jump started in the last year or so. So I'm really keen to see where that goes.
How'd you get into it?
It's really weird. It's such a common question asked, and I still don't know how to answer it. Like I still choke every time trying to ask.
Like, did someone suggest it, or were you like, I want to do this?
So I think the backstory would probably come back to like my figure. So I think throughout like my entire teenage years, I've always been like tall, very lean, and kind of just like
Insane.
like you, basically. Yeah. So I think I just naturally had like the build for it, and I kind of always knew that, but I never really wanted to pursue it because I think before modeling was probably like the last thing, barely even a thought. So it was like the last thing on my mind. Wasn't really interested in it because of just like preconceived ideas of what I thought it would be, and like what it would take from me. But it was like very different once getting into that. But getting into that, basically, I think it just started with I don't know. I kind of just began to see what a lot of people just kept saying. And I think just finishing school and I think being more exposed to the industry that I'm trying to get in, like the fashion industry, I think that naturally kind of just led me towards this. Yeah, and it kind of just led me to be around people like agents, bookers, and like industry people. So I think from that just came an email came a contract came, So it was like a domino effect, but it was really cool, and it's still pretty cool.
Have any of those preconceived ideas about modeling happened? Like, have you seen any of them come up? Like,
yeah, so like probably 50% of all my preconceived ideas are fact and are exactly what I thought them to be. So like certain opinions, certain like just certain things about the industry and certain sides of the industry that I had an opinion about. Like my opinion was like right.
Yeah.
Like so that was good. And then the other 50% was just kind of being in the industry and seeing like certain things that you probably never knew that's how like they work and stuff. So that's also good. Like there's like a certain growth to it.
yeah.
So that's cool.
Does that kind of push you away some of the things that because I'm guessing if it was a preconceived notion, it was probably a negative opinion of the modeling industry.
Yeah. So
And that's still, it didn't push you away in any way from, I mean, clearly not, but.
So I think what it basically did was it kind of just made me be more conscious on certain jobs that I would take. And it kind of just made me more aware to see certain agendas. So like if I got a job where it's like very obvious that the job is only because of they're trying to show like diversity, color. Yeah. So if they're kind of using you for certain things, then you kind of just start to build that confidence to be like, no, I don't want to be associated with that, or like I don't want to promote that. So that you can start doing like after a certain time. And other preconceived ideas would just be like expectations. So like size. Size is like sadly an important and like really negative requirement like in the industry. So like depending on like what the client wants, you probably won't get the job if you don't reach like their requirements. So if you're not a certain size, or if like you just don't fit like the image they want, they can like turn you away, and it kind of makes you better at rejections. Oh, wow. So like now I'm pretty chilled with getting rejected, because it's not really, it just comes down to the fact that like you just don't fit what they need.
I was gonna say, is that
And it's
bad
subjective.
in that way? Yeah.
Well, if you see it as it's just business, then it really just is business. But at the start, you walk away.
Feels personal.
Yeah, like every night.
I'll show you. Catch me on Vogue, bro. Yeah.
But yeah, at the start, it's really it's just really daunting, and it just plays in your head, because like the denials would probably come from big jobs, and then the big jobs probably, like realistically speaking, it's probably that you're inexperienced, or just like something probably realistic that you'd probably like beat yourself up about. But yeah, you just learn to just see it through as like it's business.
Yeah.
Is that something that you always wanted to do?
Yeah. So I think, I don't know, the way I see it, like from like a bird's eye view, I guess, on my life. I think, I don't know, I think life just pushed me towards modeling, so I can have like 1 feet in the industry before I start pursuing my own like stuff. But yeah, my background's like fashion design. So it's good to see the other end of the industry, which is like basically modeling. So getting to like showcase the final product and like all of that. That's quite fun.
You know, I only just am clocking now that with modeling, you're actually modeling the clothes or the fashion. I think I failed to detach the fact that it's not the person.
It's because you're a guy, you don't care about it. Like honestly,
No,
But
but
it's
like-
common, yeah. it's
Yeah, I
common.
actually just realized now, like it's actually not the individual
Yeah.
more so it's more they're actually
they're
modeling
representing, yeah.
the
What
because
the
now you're
clothes
saying
are.
yeah you actually that was a foot in the industry. I was like wait aren't you that is the industry, but it's like you actually like the fashion and the design element
Yeah. So
and
there's-
this is what
yeah, there's so
That's
much
madness.
like sides to the industry.
Yeah.
So I think like as an umbrella term, it's like the fashion industry,
Yeah.
and then like underneath that, there's like the designers
Yeah.
of fashion,
Yeah.
and then there's like who basically puts on the end productions. So then it's like the designers and then the models, and then in between that is like the marketplace.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really fun to be able to showcase like someone's end product,
Yeah.
and then some designers' end product. Like speaking in my terms, so I find that really like cool.
So modeling is not like the ultimate goal. It is a pathway to the ultimate goal. Something like that. Or
It's two things. One, it's just work. It's just like financial work.
yeah
And two, it's really beneficial. It's a good resource, I guess, for my creative and design side, because it shows you like certain processes, certain strategies, the way certain things are done, and how just simple things like how like a brand would use like a casting director to like get just small stuff that you pick
The
up
ins
on.
and outs.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's good.
Oh,
Okay.
you go.
I was just gonna say, in terms of like your work and what you do, you know, we see on the gram that you know you've been featured in campaigns. For one, Samsung S10 campaign. How
Yeah.
did that come about?
That was actually, and I think it probably is still today, probably like my biggest job.
Yeah.
And I got it really premature, like in like my model career. Like I got it when I was probably like a year deep or like 8 months deep
That's
into
really
being
good.
signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was my
That's
first
awesome.
campaign, so that was fun.
Sorry. I'm just remembering how shook I was yeah
Seeing her, yes.
bro because I'm watching the Samsung live right like because I'm like
Yeah.
checking out the new did I hit you up? I'm checking out the features in that. I was like, wait, hold up, bro.
That's
Oh,
me.
bro, I was
The internet
man,
blew
the way
up
I
with you.
rewound.
Yeah.
Like
It
you were
was
everywhere,
crazy.
like
Yeah.
actually everywhere.
Samsung was
The
really
whole
good.
campaign.
Yeah.
It was
That's
really good
madness.
to me, yeah. And I think everything from the start to like now about that job, like the before and after the job, has just been like crazy.
Yep.
I got it. When was it? Was it the start of last year or the
think
year
so.
before
I think
that?
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just got an email from like my agent, and then she was just like, Samsung is like shooting in Melbourne, so the team's gonna fly. This team came from, I hope I'm not wrong, but I think they came from Korea, and they were shooting the S10 in because we have really good landscapes like this. So they were shooting, and the casting was around here actually in Clayton.
Yep.
And the casting, I think I got the job because I got along with the casting like director more than I did the actual job.
Oh, that's good.
Because it was more acting
Yeah.
than it was modeling, so it was like a bit daunting. But the actual guy, I think I came throughout. Like I came at a point in the day where he was exhausted, and you could just tell like he wasn't really just trying,
Yeah.
like trying to really know my
Yeah.
name. So I just went in and gave him my card, and then he was just like, "This is what you have to do, and just do it."
Yeah.
So, and I choked so hard the first time. Like I had to. The scene was I had to like pull out the phone
Yeah.
from my back pocket and like answer FaceTime. And then like I pull out a phone and I drop it.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's so hard. And then when I drop it, I'm like panicking because the job is like a really big job. Like you paid like stupid.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
paid big. So I was like, fine. And then I just start panicking. And then he's just like, I think I calmed him down. I don't know why. I think, but me panicking calmed him down.
Yeah.
But he was just like, that's fine. Take 2. I think we took 4 takes. And then like at the end of like the following week, like I got an email saying to go back again. I went back again, did a different take. And then, yeah, I got the job.
That's it.
That's awesome.
But the job was like probably one of my favorite job experiences.
Yeah.
'Cause it was over the course of a week.
It's rounded as well. It's not solely modeling
Modeling,
and
yeah.
what you've
Yeah.
been doing. It's more to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's more like it's more lifestyle modeling. So it's like the in the moment shots and stuff. But this one was really fun. I think we started on Tuesday, finished on Friday. But we were stationed at a hotel in the city. And because the Samsung wasn't like released yet, there was like a really high like privacy and security essence. Like, like I had a security guard.
Oh wow.
And every time the phone was like brought out into public, there was just like black umbrellas like around you. Yeah.
Oh,
like
so no one would get like a
Crazy.
sneak peek type of thing
like
of
the
it.
phone,
Okay.
basically at the time it was still like a prototype,
Yep.
I think. So they
Wow.
hadn't like mass produced it or something.
And there's
I'm not
levels
sure.
to this. Man.
Yeah.
But it was
Man,
so
that's
cool.
crazy.
And we went to like Cactus Garden. And that was like just different places every day. But yeah, it was fun. The treatment
dope.
was cool.
That's awesome.
Wait, so Samsung got FaceTime?
Yeah. Now when she said that, I was like, hold on, wait.
Yeah.
But like some kind
I
of.
think that was like the acting that you had to do. That was like the plot.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you-
yeah.
We were
Okay.
capping hard.
So
we were capping
Samsung,
so hard.
Samsung trying to play us, isn't it? Okay.
But,
Oh, man.
that was that. So Samsung, yeah, that was really good. And I think it's like up for 24 months or something. But yeah, that was
Oh, that whole campaign itself. like,
Yeah.
okay, that's
I
sick.
think,
Yeah.
But that was cool.
So do you do a lot of those commercials and all that, or
Well, the Melbourne industry is like very commercial, so I think the only jobs out there are very commercial, and then the ones that aren't commercial don't pay. So it's like it's just a gamble.
Even running back to like starting up. I mean, now you have like an agent that's helping you to like manage different roles or positions, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But running back to like the beginning of this, was it more you shooting your shot, or was it actually like people actually just like recognizing something and trying to give you opportunities?
Before I got signed, or after
yeah,
I got signed?
before you got signed, let's say.
Yeah. So before I got signed, I would do. I think I used to do. Well, before that, in high school, I did vet at White House, and then I did their end of year like catwalk, and I think after that, I think I kind of got introduced to like the graduates
Oh yeah.
little society. So
Yeah.
then like at the end of every year, like during graduation, I'd like get hit up for like shows and shoots and stuff. And I think that's when my face probably first got out there. And then shortly after, like I got signed. So that was good. And then when I got signed, it was like a weird journey because it's like very professional. So like I got signed, didn't know anything, but I had an agent. And then like,
You're like, who is this person?
yeah, and like they don't really like sit down with you and tell you, yo, they just tell you that they're the ones that get you all the jobs and you need to have a good relationship with
Yeah.
them. Kind of, yeah. So it was just all about kind of just learning how to pose, shoot, how to read like situations, how to read clothes, how to
Read clothes.
Yeah,
Expand on this for us.
didn't know that was possible too.
Man, trying to get a little ASOS curve thing going on.
Oh wow.
Little contract.
It's a trick. It's a trick I use, but it's a trick most models use. When they go to a shoot, they just suss the rack and the clothes. And the clothes tell a story of what the shoot's going to be. So if you go and there's like just like a rack full of suits, then you know it's like a very, you just know the essence of the shoot.
true,
You know the
true,
vibe.
true.
So it's going to be very like strong poses, very like powerful. Or if you go to a shoot and it's like pretty clothes, like then you just get all like there's a lot of movement, a lot of smiling. Yeah. So it's just read clothes and
Yeah.
kind of
Do you get to keep a lot of the clothes? Sorry.
that's like the biggest. I want to debunk this right now. It's like the biggest misconception ever. You don't get to keep anything. It's all product.
That's annoying.
It's all product.
That's
so
annoying.
At the end of your shoot, that product needs to be sold and it needs to go
Oh,
back
yeah.
to
Go
where
back
it
home
came
and
from.
came out
enough.
trackies, bro.
And like the
been
stylists
dope.
of shoots, depending on what it is, but the stylists, they source those like
true.
clothes from actual stores.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
borrowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and it would
Kind of hurt.
This whole time I'm like, so you get to keep
gotta
them clothes.
close
That's
it.
nice.
That's what I've always thought, yeah.
But like at Fashion Week, if you've walked a really generous show, or if you've walked like a really cool designer that would let you keep the stuff, then you can walk away with like cool jackets and stuff. So like
dope.
this
That's
is
awesome.
from Fashion Week 2 years ago. So it's a Melbourne designer. I think they're guys. They're like a duo, but they're cool.
That's sick, man.
That
Yeah.
is awesome. But
What
go.
What about Samsung?
Oh, I wish they didn't really give me anything besides the fat paychecks.
Yeah, hello. Talk
No
that
one
talk.
wants the Samsung anyway.
Exactly. No
You should go
one.
give
No
him the
one
phone.
wants it.
I don't think she would even keep it, bro. Man,
Sells it.
Everyone
sell
haters. Everyone is haters.
But yeah, so you mentioned, like Fashion Week and all that stuff. I think Melbourne is pretty notorious for their fashion shows and stuff that go on. You've walked in quite a few as well, haven't you?
Yes. But I think compared because the Australian market itself is like quite detached from like the global market.
Yep.
And because that's the case, I think everything that comes after that is like just very not as globally strong. So
Yeah.
like our shows are very fun and like they don't really pay as good. There's not much beyond that, so you're not gonna get like recognized from a show.
Yeah.
And, like go
Oh, yeah.
like you might, but like the shows here, they're much more just about the experience and like the communal aspect of it, and just like the really empowering part of it.
Yeah.
And then overseas, it's like serious, like
More
very,
full on.
very, yeah, no one's trying to make friends. It's like it's very, very, very serious.
Oh man. But yeah, so like tell us, in a day when you do have like a Melbourne Fashion Week or something, how hectic does it get? Like what do you have to do from the
It's-
moment you wake up?
I think here in Melbourne, it's I don't know, it's really good here in Melbourne because like I do a lot of shows here, so you kind of just wake up, make sure you're like physically ready
Yep.
for like the day. So make sure like you've shaved, you're showered, you look presentable, and then you go, and it's kind of just a matter of not looking at the time. Like honestly, because like our days are full days,
Yep.
and some days you would have like 3 shows. So it's just all about just keeping busy, keeping full, and just trying not to let the show you have like in 2 hours get to like your head.
Yeah.
Because like it can get stressful when like your shoe's too small and you have a show in 2 hours and there's nothing anyone can do about it, or like you're just not confident,
Yep.
or you start thinking about the crowd and the cameras and all of that, or like for girls when like the time of the month
Yeah.
creeps up on you, like it's pretty intense. But I just stay hydrated.
Yep.
I eat a lot of fruits, and I just try to avoid being tired. But overseas it's like very intense, because overseas their shows are in locations, whereas in Melbourne it's just at the one place.
Yep.
So because you have to run around all of London, and London's massive, you just like it's mentally stressful and draining, and you probably like, I think London, I was having like mental breakdowns the first 2 days of castings, and this wasn't even shows. This was just
casting.
castings, yeah. And it was just daunting because you would go to like where the casting is, and there's like 200 models from like all over the world. On top of that, by the time you like get your turn, you've missed like all these other castings.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
And you'll get like
Damn.
27 in one day.
Jeez,
Yeah.
these guys don't have Google Calendar to make sure everyone's on different
It's
days.
weird because like the
Wow.
designers themselves, I feel like, are competing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they don't really care
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
miss
Yeah.
Wow.
the next year.
That's
That's
wow, man.
So did you get the chance to explore London as well?
Yeah. I didn't do as much as I thought I would have done in London, but I think you go and you automatically get caught up. Like I went, and I went with the mentality of like, I have everything sorted. Like I know exactly what I want to do in London, and I know how to split and spend my time. But that all went out the window probably like 3 hours in. Like, yeah, London, you get dropped with so much work that you just don't want to leave after you've come home. Like you just don't want to do anything else.
That's wild. In another place that, like, growing up, you'd be like, well, that'd be cool to travel. You finally travel, you get there for work, and it's like, energy-wise, you cannot be bothered leaving your house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was so shocked when I found myself on weekends where I wouldn't even have work, but I wouldn't even leave my room. And yeah, like I think you just get caught. Like I got caught up a lot that I didn't even spend the time I thought I would have like touring, and I wish I had because I was in a really good place to tour. I was already there, so I might as well just tour.
Just do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I don't really need to buy a ticket or anything or book a place. But I think it's just I was working a lot in London, like probably 6 days out of every 7. Yeah, every day. So it was intense.
Yeah.
So what turns a model into a supermodel?
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Forgot that's another.
Well, the type of work they do,
Yeah.
and the type of work they've done. So
Right.
I think to be a supermodel, you just have to be just globally recognizable, and to be globally recognizable, you probably would have to have done like big jobs with big clients, and it's probably just about who you're recognized through, I guess. So there's like a lot of people recognize me as like the target girl, and I don't really mind that. Like, it is what it is. And it's good because then like I think my future relationships with Target are gonna be in favor.
Yeah, of
because of that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then in London, I think my last show, I caught a train home, and I think I was like pretty lit. And then I think this girl recognized me on the train, and then she's like, "Oh, you're that girl from Fashion Week."
Oh.
And then she took a photo. Of me.
She said, "I'm gonna sell it."
Oh, you got tagged and everything.
It was so bad.
Oh man.
Damn, that's funny. Yes. Now I was just gonna ask, like, how competitive is the industry?
It's very competitive, and it's competitive like across like all the levels. So like I think the industry itself is naturally competitive because it's creative, and then it's just competitive from just like it's competitive amongst models, amongst designers, amongst I think just every category has like a competitive sense because they're all trying to dominate. So it does make sense, but it's very competitive, and you almost have to, you can't lack. And for models, you can't, and it's sad, but you can't like lack physically or like mentally because you have to, like it does beat you down.
Because there is industries that's competitive, but it's competitive in terms of when you enter the room, everyone is like friendly because it's like, I'm going against you, but at the same time, like, I want to see you win. And there's industries where you walk in and everyone's just to themselves. Where it's like, so
that's the modeling industry.
that's the modeling industry.
It's very reserved. Like,
Okay,
you have the girls that would go out of their way to approach you and to like want to get to know you because they haven't seen you around, and then the majority of the girls just won't bother because like, why bother, you know? And you have all this on your plate. You have to run to the next casting. There's a point to it, but there's no point trying to conversate with this model. That
Can't be friends with everyone.
you can't.
I was gonna ask, do you have a model that is more experienced than you that mentors you through it as well, or?
I wouldn't say mentor. And I think half my friends, they were like in the industry before I am, but we all just bounce and support each other. And because we kind of run in similar circles in regards to work and like who we work with, I think it's just making sure that we're all level because we're all in the same boat.
I think, doper than what anyone's doing is obviously like the path to getting there. So like upbringing, like what's your background?
What's my background? I was born in Kenya, Kakuma. I think me and my family migrated here in the early 2000s. 6 sisters, 2 brothers.
Yeah, big
Run
family.
that back.
I think I have 2 sets of twins. And the third set,
How many siblings do you have to?
Yeah, it gets to the point that it's like,
I think it's 2.
I got a big family.
yeah.
And my brother and my sister have the same birthday, so they're like,
But they're not,
The ones
but
that
they're
aren't
not
twins.
Yeah.
yeah, the same day,
Yeah.
twins, but they're
That's
not.
sick.
But they're not twins. That's great.
Where do you sit in that? Wait.
I'm the second youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I grew up in a pretty good household. We had really good values. And I think we were always transparent in just accepting people.
Yeah.
So I think we just grew up accepting this is what this person wants to do with their life. And we just had like a really good, strong, supportive network. And we're all really good friends. But yeah, had a good life growing up.
I think that is interesting as well because from an African point of view, if you first of all say I want to be a model or pursue that creative, it's pretty dope that you had that support network, like family wide, like to be able to do that.
I think I'm grateful that my family is not as conservative, or they're not as like they're open. So I think it's like that part's like really important in being okay with who you want to be, because like no one has like a set life that they're waiting to give you. They're just probably just letting you figure it out. So that's good. I think my family's done a lot to let me figure out certain things.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool how your fam's doing like different things as well, because you got
Yeah, I have a very colorful family.
Yeah, you do.
I have a football player brother, and then like a priest brother, and then my sister's starting to be a lawyer, and like I'm creative, and then my other sister's like a personal care worker. Everybody's kind of just everywhere, covering all bases.
Do you feel some type of pressure? Like you're the second youngest here, and all the siblings are like doing amazing things.
Oh, hold up. You're the one in Samsung ads. Did they feel pressure?
Exactly.
Like back then when it's like, oh snap, like okay, I see you. Oh yeah, I see you. You know what I mean?
because your
like,
brother's playing what, Melbourne Victory?
Victory,
Melbourne Victory,
yeah.
like one by one, it's
gracious.
like I
Whole
see you
family
guys
bringing
go.
the check.
Yeah, like you begin to see everyone going into their fields and doing well in their fields, and then you're like,
Like it's not just entering the field, like you guys are actually
I think,
proper
to be fair,
establishing.
modeling is part of the industry.
Yeah.
So I'm technically still within my realm, still within the field.
Yep.
But I've never really felt pressured. Like pressure doesn't really come from my family like that.
Yeah.
And I think everybody just treats each other as grown. So like if you're not where you want to be, then just reevaluate.
Yeah.
Plus, you're not like competing with your siblings.
No, you're not.
You want to see everyone win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You all want to.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
Definitely competing, but not to see someone fail.
yeah, exactly. And I think like the competitive
It's a big crazy word. Don't worry. Hey, when you said it, I was like, oh, please. Competitiveness.
nature.
Oh, yeah, you skipped the competitive nature. That's the right
the
way.
daddy killed. Dad was like, big one, don't worry about it. What do you mean?
We know what you're saying.
Now, do you do the competitive nature?
This guy killed him.
Oh man.
Oh my god! I think the competitive nature probably comes from like relatives, so like your aunties and your uncles that always want
Want to flex
like
their kids?
just put their nose in your business. I think that's probably where the pressure would come from.
Yeah.
But I think internally, I think it's pretty good.
That's
That's
dope.
good. I mean, I see like you and your siblings on the gram and stuff, and you guys are very supportive of one another, and you seem like you guys have a very close relationship. I've also seen that your mum did pass away in 2014. How did that affect you guys, or you in
Damn, Mala. That's probably one of the questions. I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
It had a big effect.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the only way I can probably answer that without going deep into is probably I think we managed better than we thought we would have. Yeah, I think we managed really well, and I think we're still managing, and we'll probably continue to manage. It's not like I think it's like an ongoing. So yeah.
I think it's crazy. No, it's dope because your fam's supportive, even just in general. It's like it's always just continuously being around each other, like every day.
That
that's
comes
sick.
from my mum, though. My mum was just a very inclusive person, so it was all about input, everybody's input. So I think that's like, I think our like togetherness probably comes from the fact that we were almost kind of made to stick with one another. Growing up and probably for like the rest of our lives. But my older
sick.
sisters, they play like a really big part in keeping everybody attached. So it's like almost hard to detach yourself from everybody.
Yeah.
Because they'll find a way to find you.
It's like when you try to start doing, stick to yourself for a bit, then the family group chat pops.
It's so intense. It's so intense.
Yeah.
And they'll like have their own conspiracy theories about what is going on.
Seems like everyone's just been hella motivated, like to do, like achieve greatness. Like like we said, your family's doing like everyone's doing dope things in their own lane. So to see that motivation,
back to definitely my older sisters. They're like they're just like the eyes that are looking constantly. So like you can't really go like a week without doing anything. Because they always want to know like what you're doing and if you're doing something.
That's dope.
I think in line with the fashion industry, like we've seen some crazy things like from brands over the years, right? I mean, brands that we still always wear, so it's not like I'm how mad can I really be? Yeah, but I guess we always wonder who is in these rooms that makes them.
How does this stuff happen? Like the H&M stuff, for example, like when that whole madness went down. Yeah.
So I think so basically, just know that there are no mistakes. Like
Very true.
It's very hard to make a mistake if you know like the positions these companies are in. Like this is H&M. This is not like a local small
They
brand.
have advisors.
And there's like a whole process that like happens before something is released. So like with that whole H&M imagery with like that whole just racist notions that they were doing, that wasn't an accident. And not to say that it was intentional, but like that definitely wasn't an accident. Because like from just the very origin of like that photo, had to just have gone through like so much channels and so much like just fact checking and so much just like people are
Isn't there a whole? There's usually whole departments that are dedicated to be like, how are people going to take this?
And there's like a whole checks and balances. That, so that part was intentional. And there's also no such thing as bad media. Like they were like in the front lines of like the media for like however long that
More
story
clicks for
went.
their website.
Yeah, exactly. And if anything, they made more money off the bad press than they did. And they just big companies don't make mistakes at all.
What's your experience with that in the industry then? Like, because a lot of even ethnic models do talk out a lot about issues that they face. Is that one of the preconceptions that is actually true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the industry in itself is just it just has like a lot of cleaning up in it, but not in its structure. I think it's in like just the opinions of the people in the industry. Like they're very normal to them that they don't really see the effect it has. So like I used to always go to shoots, and I think like the first 3 seconds, the first topic would be like skin. Like, oh my God, I love your skin. And then that's like
So
the
that's
first
why I'm
thing
here.
they would say, and it like that's before conversating, that's
Yeah.
before the highs, like that's before anything.
It's
is
such a
really
weird
said.
thing to say to someone.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so direct that you can tell that's one of the main reasons you're there.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna ask, like, with the other than the models, are a lot of the people that work in the directing roles and the stuff that's like photography and all that kind of stuff, is it more men or women or?
It's not really like, because we're a very like flexible industry, so it's like gender is almost irrelevant.
Right.
So in regards to like the teams, like it could be more men than women, but then like I think the nature of like those people as individuals is like also different as well. But yeah, gender is like very irrelevant as like
Then also with that, do you see a lot of people that look like yourself working in those roles, not the modeling roles?
Yeah, I think that's like the saddest part that I've like noticed since like starting, that like the actual operating roles and the actual like managing and like the organizational roles, I don't really see like a lot of people that I identify with. So there's not like a lot of black people as like stylists or hair and makeup or photographers or any like creative direction. Not really.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's crazy because it's like essential now for any major brand to have diversity in
Yeah.
who's
But
at the
that's like-
forefront. But
That's the disconnect.
Yeah.
And it comes back. I have like this big view on like a certain angle with diversity, because like diversity is sold. So it's like almost, they've like commercialized it that it's like a product. So if I can like slap 5 people that don't look like each other, I can get like more
Diverse,
people.
yeah.
Like I can pull in more people.
Yeah.
So, but with like the disconnect with the, I think the clients and like the organizations is that they want to represent everyone, but they don't want everyone to work for them. So like they'll get like a black model, but they won't, because I think shoots, they come and go, but the roles are jobs. So
Yeah.
like I can go to a shoot and like leave, and that's it between me and that shoot. Whereas like stylists, you have to like invest in giving them like a job.
because
and
now I
stuff.
have to learn how to deal with a different culture or a different.
Yeah, and they don't want to
Yeah.
just invest. They don't want to really diversify like themselves like that. They just want to sell it because it makes people sleep at night, and it's
Yeah.
and that's what's like working at the moment. Yeah.
yeah, representation, is pretty important. Just like that's the thing as well though. Like, are there? Because you always start to wonder: is it that people aren't aspiring to be in these roles, or is it that like gatekeepers are present that actually stop people from advancing?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think some people aren't aspiring to be in these roles because the door's already slammed in their face. Like they can try to get around it, but the role's already full. And no one's really willing to give them a chance. And it'll also come back to, let's say, like makeup artists. Like on a daily basis, I think just naturally, just white models are just shot naturally on a daily basis than are like black models. So then I think that's why they don't really like invest that much time, because I think they'll probably use a black model once a week to keep up, to keep up looks.
Hit the status quo,
yeah, and
but
then they'll use
Damn.
and then they'll use their regulars, like every other day, I guess.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
man.
it'd be like that. So besides work and all that, what do you do for fun, like hobbies and that, to get your mind off things?
I like develop shoots. Like I just do like home styling and like home shooting and stuff. So I have a pretty cool wardrobe. So I would just develop just like shoots that connect to like something I've learnt at uni. So I think like what I'm working on at the moment is like a suit series. And that just came from like looking back at my uni notes, and when we like studied like tailoring and like suits and stuff. And it kind of just rejogs your memory. And it's fun. And that's what I kind of just, do on a daily basis.
Bro, that's
I don't
mad.
really-
Can we expect a clothing line or?
Oh, most devs down.
Yeah.
Future, yeah.
Nah, that'd be dope.
I think that's like the general direction that I'm heading towards with all these stuff that come in between.
Yeah.
What do you think of? Because you get a lot of people that, because there's models that are doing things yourself, right? And then you see a lot of people that, I guess, I don't know, social media community or the ends would think that they're modeling as well. But there's a very clear difference between just doing your friend's photo shoot on his Canon DSLR or walking the runway, bro. Like,
But I think that there really isn't a difference.
okay.
Because like if you're gonna go by the definition, there's no difference.
Yeah.
Like if you're a model, you're a model. It doesn't matter if you're like an Instagram model or like a model no one's ever seen before, or a model that like walks the big like shows. I think if you're a model, you're a model. But what type of work you do as a model is probably what like
That's what the difference is.
like
Yeah.
differentiates everybody.
Very
So
true.
probably the difference between me and like an Instagram model is the type of work we do.
Yeah, that's actually facts. I was shopping this out of time, and then this other guy was helping me out, and then We had a good chat, whatever, and his fashion was dope. I was like, bro, I like your fashion in it. It's like, yeah, cheers, blah, blah, blah. He popped his Instagram on my phone. I thought this guy was a wreck.
Interesting. Where's this going?
Anyway, so he posted his Instagram on my phone, yeah. I thought this guy was some regular guy. Like, this guy had like 50K followers, showing me like, yo, but say I did it for this brand, for that brand. I'm like, oh snap. He's like, yeah, bro, you can do it too. All you gotta do is just put on your clothes and then just post it up on Instagram and you be a model. But I was like, simple. But that explains it, like exactly what you just said. That makes sense.
There's a big demand for Instagram models because they're actually really effective.
Yeah,
like
true.
if you have a nice style and like a brand sees that you have nice style, they'll just send you stuff that you can style and post and tag them and like just operate business like that. And then you're still making money. And you're half the time they make more money than us.
Yeah.
Like when we don't get jobs.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. It's like, bro, like I tagged them, they just keep sending me clothes. Because what I was going through is like different clothes, big time brands. I was like, oh, okay.
And it saves money because like that's the informal way of brands expanding their products. And then the formal way is the contacting agencies, professional models. But it's the exact same thing, just one's informal, one's formal. And one, they don't have to pay as much as what they have to do for the other. But that's it.
And I mean, everyone's on social media as well. So it's
exactly.
kind of like if you can easily just contact someone.
Yeah.
And they've already got a following. So
Exactly. And then there's no need to go through like a formal process if you're just a street brand.
Yeah.
You know?
Bro, I left the shopping center. I was like, I need, bro, I was already plotting getting a new camera.
I got hit. You know, I got done, man. You hyped me up as well, and this fake ass intern. Remember when there was that story going around at one point? Yeah, it was a Nike or ASOS, man.
I think it was Nike, wasn't it?
And they're like, yo, if you want to, you know, blah, blah, join, just repost this, tag us, and then, you know, you become an ambassador. I was like, no, why would I do this? And then I got hyped by
I didn't hype you. I did not hype you.
Oh, hype me.
Bro, what you hype this guy up for?
I put it up, yeah.
My favorite part coming
Everyone clowned him.
One, it was a hoax, yeah. Two, all I was seeing for the next 2 days.
It's a hoax. Like,
Share this image if you want to be our model.
Bro,
It was the black background, white text though.
White background, black text.
Yeah,
So
that's literally what it was, and you fell for it.
Bro.
You fell for it?
Nah, the worst part was everyone being like lol at everyone who really thought that they were about to kick off their modeling career. I'm like,
bro, next time, hit her out, bro. Ask her, bro. Is this real or not? Whatever she says, you go with her, innit?
I was hurt, man.
Are you allowed to book jobs outside of your agency or
it's highly unrecommended, and it just ruins your relationships with your agents.
Yeah, of course.
Because like you're seeking work outside of them, and you're almost like cutting them out of the loop because they get like a certain percentage for their efforts and stuff. And then it's kind of just like, well, if you're gonna like take that route, then I just like won't send you jobs. Yeah. So it's not really worth it.
True.
Yeah. And then you just kind of just redirect them to your agent. So when I get like a lot of like Instagram DMs, I just tell them to like just email my agent. And stuff. That makes sense.
Otherwise, it'd be kind of awkward if your agent finds out.
Yeah,
I was like,
Amer,
have your agents on everything. Like, you have your agents like on Instagram, on everything.
They're watching you closely.
They try to put up a photo in another brand name.
Like my agents, like,
I heard you show
on my stories.
I heard you shop for Apple. I know what you're talking about.
Bro, that's wild. Oh, you know the one when you cheated on your barber, bro.
That next meeting gonna be hella awkward, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and then when they find out, like, oh, I don't remember sending you this shoe.
Yo, that's crazy.
So you've done numerous amount of like photo shoots as well, photos and all that. In terms of Photoshop, have you ever seen a photo that was posted and you were like, wait, that doesn't look like me, or they've altered something?
I'd be happy.
Really. That hasn't happened to me, but I think in Melbourne, like photography, just photographers, and like I think the photography industry is like very legit. So like they don't, and I think they're more aware than anybody else in the industry about like the effects of certain things, and
Yeah.
they have to edit the final photos.
Yep,
like
yep.
they're pretty, I think, respectful with that.
Yeah.
And there's like it's trendy now to be natural and stuff. So
Yeah.
they don't really airbrush or anything like that.
I think my question. Do you have another?
Go.
With all that's going on right now, what does that do for like work? You know, COVID situation, all this craziness. What does that? Yeah.
It's like really like debilitated my work. Like
No
I
way.
haven't. I think last Friday was like the first day back at work. But our industry got hit really hard because we're we're like a very contact based industry. From like shoots to like production, everybody's in like really close proximity. So then like when the laws came down, like restricting everybody, just clients closed up shop and there was just like no work. And then they started giving periods of how long there would be no work for.
Yeah, just in advance, even.
Yeah,
Of, wow.
so it's
yeah.
like it was looking really bad, and it was basically resort to a second job because if you're relying on this primarily, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
But I was lucky, enough that this whole thing happened when I was overseas because when I came back, I could rely on like all the money I made in London to kind of like survive. Yeah, so it's good. But yeah,
What's that traveling like then? Even going to the London stuff. Like, have you been to other places except for?
traveling is really fun. I think that's probably my favorite thing because like I think I like the fact that like I'm going to a destination.
Yeah.
Like I'm like en route somewhere. But yeah, you have to stop at Dubai. So I stopped at Dubai, then went to London. From London, I had this client in Barcelona.
Okay.
But it was just such a headache. Like this client was playing games. No, they were playing games with me. It was really annoying.
Did you? So you went though, like, or there were? Yeah, was the games like?
It
Yeah,
was a
like,
game.
yeah, that's the game. Yeah,
So
yeah.
on this occasion, I didn't go, but I went to Barcelona on like a different occasion.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was meant to go to Milan, but then
Ooh.
everybody got coronavirus.
Yeah,
So I was like,
yeah, nah, not today.
but
Yeah, like when you're traveling, what's it like? What's being around
yes.
different cultures like? Yeah. Are people the same overseas, all that kind of stuff?
I think in London, everybody's really friendly, and it mirrors Melbourne a lot. Like Melbourne and London, probably brothers, but Melbourne's like better.
Yeah, thank you.
But everybody's nice. The only thing about London is just like it's really congested, very overcrowded, and it's just so overcrowded to the point where like you start having patience issues that like you never had before.
Yeah.
And you start to like just physically avoid going like down certain directions.
Yeah.
Like I just like when I was in London, I just knew when it was 5 o'clock, I'm walking. Like I'm honestly walking because like there's no time difference between trying to get on a train that's already packed out than walking.
That's
So,
wild, man.
Yeah.
I was saying to my parents to say actually, yeah, because they were there last year, and yeah, they're saying like people are getting mad at the pace others are walking. Like they just bump through people. I'm like, we don't. It's not like that here, really.
Nah,
is
wait,
it?
you don't experience
No,
that?
really
Nah, bro.
bad.
I don't think anyone would try to
I think
bump a tall
it's like,
6'5".
In the city, like,
no,
I don't-
it's not as like
Okay.
London is very
You
like,
just get disrespected. No respect
No,
for Carlos in the streets.
I feel when I'm in the city and I'm trying to catch the train and everyone just walking slow past, I'm like, bro,
that's like peak moments though. That's like when it's just that time of the day. I think London it has like a start time, and it's just like really, really. It gets to a point like Oxford Street. I think like the very center of London. If you like just stand at one end of like Oxford Street and just look like down into the city, it's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people.
Wow.
And the cars aren't moving because
oh man,
in front, side, and the back of the cars, and like I think it's like an average 3 hours to get home.
Oh, whoa.
Bro,
Nah.
London's crazy.
That's the
Whoa.
average. Yeah, because there's legitimately no cars moving.
What?
yo, it's like
During
that?
work hours, London has a population of like 13 million.
In one
and,
spot.
And then at the end
In
of the
one
day,
spot.
the population's like 8 million because people come from Birmingham for work.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
true.
Like all these
Wow.
people
Yeah.
come into London and leave. So it's just
Yeah.
Yo, that's
crazy.
madness.
Like the National Rail Service is probably like the most peaceful one because that's like everywhere that doesn't live in London. So they just have to like
Yeah.
train it out.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
That's crazy.
But I think I did Vogue Italia at Essex. That was lit.
Just a little something
pretty
there.
cool.
It wasn't what I expected because I watched like a lot of. It's good though, like in a good way. Because I watch a lot of like crime and like English crime.
Yeah.
And like Essex is like very notorious.
Yeah.
But then when I went, it was just like old people, and cows.
Everyone's capping on
Yeah,
TV. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Lying,
so
bro,
like,
they're lying.
where's like the dead body? Like, chase.
Was the sirens
Where's
in
the
that?
Peaky
Yeah,
Blinders?
Peaky Blinders. Yeah.
Like, it was just
I
like
want
a
some
really
action.
quiet rundown.
She got to say, "Where's Top Boy, bro?" Duchesne.
That's all right. That's all right.
Duchesne.
Can we make a soundbite though? Of I want some action.
I want some action. Did he say that?
That's crazy.
What's the dream runway to walk? Is it Paris?
Milan.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I think I'm a big fan of just the designers that come from Milan, Milan's history, and it's just like it's a very rich just city in regards to like fashion, and it's the fashion capital.
Yeah.
So if you walk shows there, then like
You could
you're
walk it anywhere.
legit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like the people, and it's really Milan is just very big to try and get a show in because like their queues are like half day queues. So, like the casting queue for like Fendi would be like 8 hours.
Fendi and Fendi. No, this. Come on, you know it, bro. Come on, man. Don't look at me like that.
I do.
But yeah, like they're very, very intense. And
Wow.
you're because Fashion Week, you're on like a global platform. So you're dealing with models from everywhere
Yeah.
and designers from everywhere and
Yeah.
teams from everywhere. So like the vibe is very like, I'm either better than you or you're going to remember me.
Oof.
Good or bad.
It's intense, eh?
Because everybody flies out. I think that's the funniest time. Like after Fashion Week, you'd probably wake up and none of the friends you met in the last 3 days are even in the country. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Like I think I had a job right after Fashion Week. So like Fashion Week finished and then the next morning, like I had a job. And then the next morning I woke up because I was like, I had a job, but then after I was like ready to go for drinks, like enjoy Fashion Week because I couldn't, because I had work like the following morning. So while everybody was trapping, I was sleeping. I was just trying to catch up. But then everyone was like, girl, I'm at
Everyone's
the
already
airport.
gone.
Yeah, I was like, airport, where's everybody going? Yeah. And 2 days later, like it's like on to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think Fashion Week, it's like it's seasonal. So it starts at New York and then everybody just flies to Paris, then everybody flies to London. And they all fly at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think when London finished at the airport, it was just everybody you did a show with on to Paris. Like it's pretty.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, you run in similar circles if you do similar jobs.
So it's always like on to the next type of thing.
Well,
Like
that's
we're
the
moving.
mentality of
Yeah.
it. And everything, just even to try to get a job because you do castings to get jobs unless you're booked directly.
Yeah.
And castings is just that on to the next mentality. So you give it your best for 10 seconds, hope they remember you. And
Yeah,
on to
that's
the
it.
next.
Yeah.
Half the time they don't remember you. Or half the time they try to remember you. And it's good when they try to remember you because then they'll go out of the way to try to like get your agency and stuff. But
They move fast.
Yeah.
yeah.
Moves fast.
Yeah. So, all right, catwalk or runway, whatever. What's the difference? Catwalk or runway? Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So you walk down and then you like, hey, it's me, whatever. Turn around. It's me.
What was that?
Turn around. Hey, it's me. How long is it between that outfit and the next one?
Oh, that in itself is like a whole like procedure. But you don't just walk.
Come on, Nor.
Yeah,
It's not
there's
just
more to
hey, it's
it.
me.
Yeah,
I know, you model, you strut, you
do something.
Some
do
flavor,
something.
do it all.
salt, pepper,
Well, I
cayenne.
think with I think with runway, runway's like it's really changed from like how it was to like where it is now. So like back in the 90s, it was very like feminine, a lot of like hip movements, very like captivating. Whereas now it's more so about like strong walks. So you're almost like on a mission instead of
I
like, strutting
defo
your
see
hips.
that.
Yeah.
No neck movement, bro. They're
Just-
like,
Bro, they do fast, bro.
bro, on a mission
Get out
back.
of the way.
Yo, it's wild.
You know when you're trying to go somewhere and it closes at 10 o'clock and it's 9:50.
Movements.
What do you mean? It's 9:59, bro.
But it's fun. Like it's really, really fun
Yeah.
because you have like, depending on how long the runway is, you have like 20 seconds of just all the cameras, the whole world on you, and it's
Jeez,
dark,
man.
and you're
Yeah.
live.
Have
Like
you ever
some shows
choked?
are live. Yeah, yeah. Like you do. Like,
Do they train
choke.
you on how to like make sure you make it
No.
look normal?
no, but the beauty of it is you have this moment, and it's your moment.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can either just like
Kill it.
hold your breath,
Yeah.
and just like just like kill it, or you just like shit.
Drop it back.
Just
And
stop.
it's really fun
Yeah.
because like you get so much feedback after the show, and it's like you're either remembered or you're not. But like they don't really like dramatic walkers, because it kind of
It takes away from the actual modeling
they're
of the
trying
thing.
to make
Right?
it
Yeah.
like fluid, and it's more so about like the actual clothes
Yeah.
than it is about who's wearing them. So like
True.
the really dramatic ones, they have their
It's
moment.
not.
It's all good, but they probably don't get booked again.
After that,
Like, yeah. So it's
I mean, the one fashion show that like I do sort of watch the most would probably be like Victoria's Secret when it does come on. And
Are you a fan?
Am I a fan?
Yeah.
Like I see the snippets. I don't watch the whole thing 'cause it's pretty long, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I see snippets and I see like, you know, posts on Instagram and stuff, and that looks really fun. Like
Yeah.
the girls, you know, they're dancing on stage.
Oh, big
you know,
facts.
it's colorful. Everything's
Singers.
just yeah.
I
They
think
have, yeah.
runway is fun, but I think Victoria's Secret, they come from like a different time, and they come from like the same time that saw women as like sexy
Yeah.
and kind of just sold like, because they sell sex basically. So then they have to make their shows dramatic,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they have to like be over the top
Yeah.
and stuff.
Cause I feel like they're very much like about the actual models,
Yeah,
not the clothes.
yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah,
a bunch of the models.
exactly.
I don't know what they've ever
And
worn.
it just
It's all underwear. to me.
Yeah,
Low-key,
and
yeah.
it just comes back to because Victoria's Secret up until probably the last couple of years, they've always kept the same business model.
Right.
Yeah.
So they've from the start they were always selling skinny, and they were always selling white, and they were always just selling like sex sells basically.
Yeah, of course.
And then when they got like, they started getting like under fire because of like
No
the image
diversity.
issues. Yeah. And Victoria's Secret, they've never changed their type of model. It's always been the same. They've probably
Yeah,
changed
that is
color,
true.
but
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
never changed figure or requirements and stuff. We've never seen like someone with one hand there
Yeah.
or like anything like that. But yeah.
Speaking of like image and stuff, with the runways that you do and stuff, are there like plus size models and stuff there, or
Yeah, so I think I started modeling at a really good time, because when I started modeling, that's when you started visually seeing like the representation that kept selling.
Yep.
So yeah, I would, depending on the client, it's so weird. Everything really depends on the client and what they want or
Yeah.
what they're trying to achieve. So I think like in 2018, different brands had plus size models. So you know Gorman?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so they did their 10-year.
Time to shine.
yeah. This guy.
There's like a
Yeah.
Melbourne brand called Gorman. They did like their 10-year like 2 years ago. And I think half the modelists, they were like plus size models. But then again, like I
Is
don't
it
really
just-
like that term.
I
What
was
is
gonna
a plus
say,
size?
are they
Yeah.
just
And
pandering
how-
to diversity?
What makes them plus size? Like what makes
What
them
is the-
outside
what's the
of
standard?
I'll tell you.
Exactly. What's the
Wow,
standard
yeah,
to
that
make
is-
them
Yeah,
plus
because we're not
size?
walking around saying the skinny models
Yeah,
that are
exactly.
walking.
And why do you need to like label size before
Exactly.
you even conversate what you have to say?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it just,
Yeah, no, that is true.
but the whole plus size thing is just weird.
Well, do fashion designers make clothes with I'm guessing they make clothes with a certain body mind, like going, oh, this will look better on this.
Well, if you're like a real designer, you'll design and anyone can wear it. And then it'll just be up to like the production process on how much of what size they produce.
Yeah. I think I was gonna ask, how can I phrase this? What's the longevity of like this like industry? Like, is there ever a finite point that you think you can like reach max like
Like the modeling industry.
Yeah, modeling and even like design. Is there any like, or is it really like the sky's the limit? You just continue to.
I think design is like almost eternal. Like if you're a designer, you're a designer, and you're always gonna design. But I think with modeling, it can be very like momentary. So you can probably only have this season to like probably shine, and then like you will die down. But like with modeling, it just depends on really what's trending and what's not, what's working, what's not. If you're liked, if you're not. But because it's very like they pump new faces like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's no real longevity to it. Yeah. There's like a 5-year cap.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's if you're like consistently the face of like a lot of things. Like Adut's doing really, really well.
She is.
Yeah. And she's like just like scored and like deserves a position, I guess, like in the industry. But like she's never lacked. Like she's hit every season.
Yep.
And she's like never been forgotten. So people like that would last. And they do last.
That's sick. I think like so designers that I know are like off head that I actually kind of like follow would be like Jerry Lorenzo and what's his face, Virgil Abloh. Yeah. Like when you and I was watching an interview of Jerry Lorenzo with Pastor Stephen Furtick, and they were talking about like creativity. That interview was so dope. Like even just talking about creativity. Yeah, shout out to Stephen
The guy
Furtick.
talks about this interview like he was there.
I love it. No, it changed my mind on so many things. Just creativity itself and how everyone should be creative in like, or can be creative in whatever they're doing. Like he's like accountants can be creative because you have to figure out connections. I'm like, yeah, like that. You know, that's why I love it. It's just an amazing interview.
Yeah.
For you, where do you derive your like creative influence or inspiration from?
I think it just comes from just the way I think the outlook I have on the world and the way I see it. So I just see the world and I see problems and like solutions just through design. And just my inspiration would just come from it comes from everything. From like thought, what I hear, what I eat, or situations I'm in, or like reflections. But I think you can get inspiration from everything, but just like what you turn it out to be, I think. is what
Would you ever design with a message in mind in what you want to deliver, or just design for like look?
I think, well, it just depends what you want to design. So if you want to design, if you have a message in mind and you want to like deliver it, then you would deliver with design. Or if you're like, if you don't really have something in mind and you just want to like produce something cool, you can still do that. But I think it's almost like being. I think that's the way I see design. Yeah. So there's like a lot of aspects to it that play out. But yeah.
Did you see the whole thing of them like digging up Tyra's old comments on?
Tyra?
Yeah. Oh, what was the show?
Tyra Banks,
Tyra Banks.
America's
Is it
Next
Tyra?
Top Model.
How do you feel about like that guy's like? Because like I saw them, I was like,
I didn't see this. Someone fill
I
me in
haven't
real quick.
really seen it, but I think I haven't seen the Tyra thing, but I think it's really weird when people dig up things
From the past,
and then they try to like make them as present as possible.
Yeah.
And just
It's like that moment passed.
yeah,
I don't
and
know.
sort of. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like, how did you actually feel like that? Even if it was 20 years ago? Because like the thing was, 1 year she tells a black girl like, oh, the gap in your teeth it's not gonna work, whatever. The next, so she made her get it closed or something like that.
Well, she told her to get it closed, but the girl didn't want to, and she's like, "You're not gonna make it far with the gap."
And then next year she told a white girl like, oh, you should get a bit of a gap in your teeth. That's the thing right now. Like, when is that ever your opinion, right? Or unrelated, right? Like Doja Cat is getting like slammed right now for all these old tweets, and it's like,
I saw that.
when could that have ever been your opinion? Like, to be honest, like I'm kind of happy that stuff's out. Like,
Yeah,
that's clearly how you felt about somebody.
But I don't know.
I'm torn as well with this.
I think it's like it's not really fair to try to up someone because of like their past, and like, but it's also at the same time like it just depends how personal you take who they would have been at that time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think like with Tyra, the stuff that she was saying, or like the negative stuff she was saying, she was at the time, not that it's like I'm trying to like justify it, but she was like the only figure. Like she was probably like the only like African American model that had like a model TV show. So I think she had just
True.
There's a lot
yeah.
more
I think
going on.
there's like a lot behind the scenes,
And you have
especially
to
in
sell a
TV.
show.
Yeah.
Like,
especially in TV, there's drama that has
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
produced, and there's like certain reactions that have to be like that have to come from it. But I just think everything on TV has a backstory.
yeah.
I think when that did happen, she came out and she was saying that at the time, that's what the industry was like. And like we were saying back in the days, there was a certain image.
Yeah.
So girls with a gap in their teeth, it wasn't really put out there.
Yeah.
And if you did have it, you weren't really going to be put in the magazines. You weren't going to really make it far. So for her, it was like, you're coming to my show to be models. You want to be put out there. So I'm just telling you what the industry is going to tell you or what they're going to reject you for type of thing.
True.
Yeah. So
Can't blame her for that, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, exactly.
she thought she was helping them, I guess.
Even in general, like the whole digging up thing is, I'm so torn when it comes to
with
that.
it.
Like,
yeah.
because there's an element of me that's like, when you can clearly, like, oof, man, that English team. Whoosh.
Yeah, please work on it.
When you can clearly see change in behavior, not even change in behavior,
Yeah.
not even, actually, let me not even say change in behavior, because that would imply that you knew they were at a certain point, right? Let's just say that you see them and you actually follow them because you believe that they're such a great person, they're doing great things. Like even recently, Nella Rose got cancelled as well, right? And she's doing so much in terms of like inspiring and like positive influence and body image and all that for like black girls in general, in the UK and all that kind of stuff, right? And then anyways, they found old tweets and then she got cancelled by the very girls that she was basically like, she's now empowering, So for me, I'm like, there's an element that people should be accountable for things that they've put out into the world, because your words don't ever die, you know what I mean? But it's like,
But your
how
actions
much
say a lot
what-
more.
Yeah, there's that, but then it's also like, so
Like, as in, if she's supporting that stuff and all that, it's like, okay, well, if I said this years ago and now I'm acting the opposite way, which is a good way,
like,
don't have to be held
should-
to
Like
that's
the
the thing,
mentality's changed. She's not thinking the same way.
well, is it right then? Yeah, what do you guys think? Like in terms of like, society canceling people for that, because your words are out there. You know, you can't try to ignore it or continue to
I
do.
don't think they try to ignore it. I think
I would be deleting, bro. I'm surprised that people don't like.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
trust. They already got a screenshot of
forgot
what you
about
just
it,
said.
yeah.
bro.
is real. I think, but I think they are accountable because they're not denying them. Like there's, they are accepting, accepting.
Yo, don't worry, all of us tonight.
Hey,
all of us.
Guys, everyone that APs up.
we'll go through it.
But I just think it's almost wrong to not want to believe that people can change.
Yeah,
Because
of
like
course,
for
of course.
you to hang her today
yeah,
because of what she
100%.
said 6 years ago
Yeah.
is you refusing to believe that she's not the same person today.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I think the whole thing is dumb, low key. Okay, what if, today I'm saying something about Christians, and then 10 years later I go to church every Sunday?
exactly, you know?
True.
Doesn't make sense,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But people I think they like to leave out context because
Yeah.
context complicates
yeah,
things.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
That-
it questions
I like
like
that.
their position and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hold
They
on,
want to
is
look
this-
at it
Is this gonna work?
through the
Context complicates things one time. Let's hear that.
Yeah, nah. But then again, I think it kind of also depends on what it is that they're saying to an extent. Because sometimes you got to look at the, like you said,
Sometimes
context.
you still need to pull people
Like-
up on what they've done in the past. R. Kelly.
Yeah, like-
but
Oh,
then-
yeah,
then
there's
that's
levels to this.
Why are we the judges?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? Like I think.
No, I'll judge R. Kelly.
no, yeah, like that's what I mean with certain stuff. It's like,
Yeah,
nah,
nah.
I don't care if you done it or not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna still look at it the same. And someone's like, okay, maybe between that time and now, you would have encountered something. You would have encountered that black or that white person that you said something about back then. Now it's like, oh snap! Thank you for changing my perspective
Yeah.
in terms of what you go through.
Yeah.
Now I'm a bit different. So I don't know if it's fair to.
Hold
Yeah.
people to it
But
forever.
Yeah.
it's. I just think it's just very easy,
Yeah.
especially when you're on the internet. It's like probably the easiest thing to like demean someone and to drag someone and to kind of just like participate in that whole cancel,
Yeah.
cancel
Yeah.
thing. And people just they wouldn't want to think about how it could possibly feel
Yeah.
because then it forced them to be like, hold up, what am I actually saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that whole and it's a trend, like getting cancelled.
Getting cancelled.
Yeah.
Like cancel
It's a
culture.
thing.
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
And
man.
it's just so weird that like people can come together and be like, this
Honestly.
because like this person found a tweet from like 2012.
It's madness. Yeah. Oh,
Honestly.
you think she's wrong?
Yeah, and it's like
you did.
hashtags, like it can trend, and it's like it goes
It's
viral.
madness.
Like, I mean, with Nella Rose, she had other stuff going on,
Wait,
but
what
like
did
a
she
lot
say?
of these YouTubers, for her, she was putting out tweets just about like black girls, just black people in general, like, you know, demeaning them and just
Then again,
being like,
context, she
like,
was going through a lot of the same things that she was
Yeah.
actually talking about. So yeah, you're right. Context complicates things.
and I mean, like, and over the years, you know, we see her. She's advocating for black people. Like, all her friends are black. You know, she puts them on platforms and all that stuff. So it's kind of like she apologized and she owned up to what she did. But it's like people were still bashing her, and they were going to the, you know, extent of like just saying really hurtful things. And it was kind of like she apologized, and you see that she doesn't have the same mentality. Like, what else do you guys want?
Exactly.
What else can someone do? You know?
And you know, people nowadays almost want you to serve them.
Yeah.
Like, they'll put you in a position
Yeah.
that's like so low that you have no option but
Yeah.
to give them what they want, and it's
It's too much.
I think honestly, it's just that power trip at this point where it's like, I made you say sorry.
To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't even know if they care. What
No,
once
they
they
don't
say
care.
sorry.
They
100%
don't.
don't.
Like,
They don't.
They
it's not like, oh, okay,
honestly-
now it's better.
Yeah, yeah.
they honestly couldn't care.
That changed. You know, like
Mission accomplished. What?
Yeah, they
I don't get
honestly-
that,
yeah,
bro.
They honestly couldn't really care what you had in your apology
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you were to apologize. They just care that this is out there, has your name on it, and they just until they're finished, until they're done being bored, they're
yeah.
going to like ram you down.
Yeah.
Internet is fickle.
oh man,
Yeah, I
that's
think
what,
the
man.
cyber community is more
It's
toxic
loud.
than real life.
We were having this conversation actually a couple episodes back about how like there's two different communities, man. I was even because I was under the impression, or like from just what I see, I'm like, yo, social media is mad loud, and I was thinking like there might even be a bit more power pool from social media than really out here. But to be honest, the government's the one telling us to stay home now, not social media. So it's like social media is just very loud, but it doesn't actually hold any ground in the real, in the real world.
it?
Really, it does.
Yeah, and I think it holds like a really like powerful stand in
Word.
the real world. Because if it didn't, how can stuff online like
Start to
surface
translate,
on
yeah.
the real world?
Yeah.
And so much stuff that happens online or that's developed online makes its way to the real world, and then it starts to affect real people
True.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
like real ways. And it could be stuff from like someone dragging a photo of you like all over the internet that can like really affect you in real life.
Now people,
Or like stuff coming out, or like things being found, or like just content that's just out there. And if you're just not like a really strong enough person, it will play at you and it'll like play at your head. And I think the internet just has a big door that it just comes through to real life like every day.
There's just so much information out there that like we don't need to have as well.
Yeah.
Like you think about it, like the amount of stuff we know that's like I could really live without knowing.
Oh, nah, I've been watching What If on YouTube for a hot minute at this point now. Do you guys know this channel?
Nope.
Bro, the last one I watched was What If We Started Throwing All Our Rubbish into Volcanoes. There's like, what if...
Oh, sounds familiar.
I think that's smart. Though.
Why is he telling us this?
Yeah, like
Oh, there's all sorts of like, what if gravity disappeared? All this bare
that's a
random
big one,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah, but that's probably never gonna happen, or we don't need. But yeah, you're right. There's just stuff
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
I think what I wanted to ask though, like on this social media topic, actually, is do you feel you have to be a brand and an individual at the same time? Like, are you're representing not just yourself, but also your work in just your social media posts, like how you walk around, stuff like that? Like, do you have to censor yourself in any way?
Yes, you have to censor yourself, but only because like
You don't
If
want
you
someone
get
to pull up old tweets.
like I think like in Melbourne you're like sussed before you're booked. So
Yeah.
like they can bring up your profile and they'll just look through your Instagram, see if you're like a good representative
Yeah.
of like their brand before they even book you. So yeah, you just have to keep like your social channels like clean, and like not rude or not really explicit or anything. But personally, I just like to keep it keep it real, I guess. But I just like to keep it realistic of how I actually am, like in real life. So like I don't really like put content on that I would like.
Not act like in reality.
Yeah, or like that's not really important, or like just like junk that like.
Yeah.
No,
But then
that's
it's also like what I follow. Like I don't really, because like what you follow is also big. Because then that because you make up like your newsfeed of like what you follow and stuff. So then if you're just following like things like Shade Room or like just like a lot of like that type of content, then you're it's waste content.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that?
I hate Shade Room. I'm like so anti.
You hate it?
those.
Thank you so much.
I'm anti.
Shout out
Just,
to you.
just
This is how I-
pages.
this is how I feel. This is exactly how I feel about these.
They're intentional.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Shade
right.
Room is very intentional. They're there for a reason. They have an agenda and they execute it every day.
No, the most annoying things when they post something about someone and then that person comments on it. Fair enough. And they're like, "This person has stepped into the shade room." Ah! Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Or when they're really
that's
deliberate about just they-
Pushing an agenda.
Yeah, so they would post something knowing that there's like two very conflicting sides to it, and then they just open the door for
Like just
people.
whatever. Let have it Greek.
And
Yeah.
like people, like the people on Shade Room are like just
Built
really,
different.
really savage, and like savage to
lot
a
of
point
sassy
where you're
savages.
like, what's the point of you saying that,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
here,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yo,
yeah.
They love it, bro.
I know.
hey,
Like-
Shade Room.
You love
I'm not,
it.
no.
Is it
It's not.
insightful?
It's not that I love it. It's just it's a way to kind of also keep up with the culture, like what's going on, you know,
Shade Room
in
isn't
America,
really keeping
and
up with the
stuff.
culture though.
But that's the thing. They do put out like negative stuff, but they also put out positive things as well.
Yeah,
No. You know why?
I don't know about positive.
It's you know
I
why it's
mean,
not really positive is because they have to highlight like hashtag positive post. Like what?
They have to make it known.
Bro,
Hashtag positive.
she'll bring
know
up
what I mean?
something that's happening. I'm like, how did you know this? And Shade Room. Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing.
that.
Like that's how I find out like a lot of things. It's not that I like intentionally go, and it doesn't like
Angela
cloud
Yee
my
rumor
Angela
reporter.
Yee. It doesn't like come up on my newsfeed or whatever like often, but it's like once in a while it does come up, and it's like, oh, okay,
Ooh, spicy.
Chris
You
Brown
follow. Scandalous.
started a challenge or something, you know.
But you know, it's not really fact checked. It's half the time it's opinions.
Yeah.
Half the time it's like someone dropping in the Shade Room saying all these things.
Yeah.
So they're like constantly and very fastly pumping out all these information that's half the time not correct, half the time breeds something else.
Yeah.
So like, I just think that they're a platform that just could do so much better.
Yeah,
than
no,
they're doing.
definitely.
Yeah,
It's
especially-
huge though. It's
Yeah.
like
That
20
is-
million
that is for
followers
sure.
or something.
Exactly.
Which people love that, obviously. Like,
And they
Yeah.
have like a 5% like realness to it. Like I think some of like
Not bad,
like
man.
Charlemagne, like he has some slight legitimacy to him.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
fair
50, but yeah, so like there's like some accuracy to it, but I just can't stand it.
That's funny as.
I guess I wanted to find out what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened if it doesn't take you back to a dark place thinking about. But the most embarrassing thing to happen
Most
in a shoot, runway, no heels snapping or like what do they call it? Ankle break,
Bro.
Oh, that's painful to watch, man.
I actually
Surely not. I'm gonna know.
I hate
no.
repeating the story because it's like
Well,
so
it's
just-
time to hear it.
I think this season was like my first season in London, and like I fell
Oh no.
in one of the shows, and like I
the
fell
show? Oh.
really violently as well. And then- Yeah, no, it was cooked. It was bad. I was the second last.
Oh
out.
man, you
no.
could have wrapped it up
It
right
was me.
there.
It was like me and the closing girl and the designer. We were like the last three to come out.
Bro, the
So that's
director.
big.
And
That's big.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like if
no.
you're like the second last or the closing girl, the opening.
Yeah,
girl.
yeah.
Bro, the director
big.
came to her and the last girl like, I'm depending on you guys.
Oh god. So bad. I'll show you the photo after. But
Oh no!
You know what's sad when you see
So
that
intense.
happen and then like the model behind just keeps walking.
Yeah.
Act like nothing.
Oh yeah, nah. This time God killed it. Nah, yeah, she killed it. But it was like, I think during rehearsals I had an issue with the strap, but then what screwed me over was I thought the strap was fixed because I complained about it. It got fixed because then the second time I put it back on, it was all good. I walked up and down. Rehearsals were fine. And then when the show came around, I started acting up again. And I'm like, fuck. Okay.
Here we go.
And then they fixed it, right? Because this was like when we're like the final touches right before the show starts.
It's like after this, nothing else, bro.
Yeah, so there's like, it's like this, the whole day was like in and out with this shoe strap. It would work and then it wouldn't, and then it would work and then it wouldn't.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's most likely probably going to work in showtime. And then my turn comes up, I'm like walking, and this was at the Old Bailey. It was so cool. I had a show at the Old Bailey. Like it was the London court, so it was pretty lit.
Oh,
How they convert that into like a
Yeah, well,
That's
it was
cool.
basically, I don't know how they did it, but this court was massive. So I think I had to walk. My walk was like 4 minutes. Like that's how long.
that's long.
Yeah, and it was 4 minutes there
That's a
and 4 minutes
workout.
back.
Wait.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on.
yeah.
What?
So it's
That's
like
just working out.
It's a workout.
Literally.
it's
Oh,
like well,
whoa.
this was a really big show.
Yeah.
So it just like had like a lot of. It didn't really have a lot of guests, but just the space that they wanted to showcase it was really big and dramatic.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
But then my turn came, I was walking and I'm like feeling it. And then my strap starts acting up and I could just feel like my left leg. And with every step, it just like it crashed with every step. And then I'm trying to keep a straight face because I don't really care what's going down anywhere
Yeah, yeah.
else. I just want to keep
Just
a
make
straight
sure the face is looking good. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the camera, I can see the camera, the
Yeah.
camera can see me. And
I see the cameraman.
Camera, look at me.
so
I'm looking at it.
I go for like the turn, like come back, and then I just like fall straight on my ass, and it was just, and then I fell at the end, and that's where all the cameras are.
Yeah.
But it's really good because like no one really used any photos that they took when I fell.
Yeah.
So no one will ever see, which is so good. So I was like so happy that I didn't wake up the next morning and that was everywhere.
It was
On the
everywhere,
shade
yeah.
room or something.
But yeah, that was like embarrassing. And then once I accidentally got like pinned in the neck.
Ugh.
Not really as painful as it sounds.
No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Very
This
painful.
neck muscle is not as really painful, but yeah, that was like during a fitting, and I just don't know what happened. But next thing I know, it was
There's a pin in your.
Yeah.
Wait, it was just there
Oh my
sticking out.
gosh.
they pinned it, but then it like squirted out.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was just I don't know. It
Just
was
small one, little
Damn.
tiny. Oh,
Moving.
She said it was alright.
Designer said I wanted to be a model.
No, it wasn't painful. It was just like a
Whoa,
I know.
whoa. Man's going at it.
Yeah, I know what happened.
Yeah, hey. Carlos is the designer. Hey. Oh, man. Damn.
Oh man, I'm dead, bro. This is funny ass.
But yeah, I don't really have a lot of like embarrassing.
Nah, that's good.
stories.
That's
Yeah,
good.
well,
Then power
thank
to
God.
you,
Yeah, I don't know about embarrassing. That'd be horrible.
Best moment though, or best walk, runway?
I think all the shows I did at Fashion Week were probably like my best shows because
Dope.
every show was just like different.
Yeah.
And it was just really fun, and it was like a first time for like the brand.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. But I think my favorite shows, I'd start with Melbourne. The first 3 shows of Fashion Week are like the best shows. So like the opening, and then the second and third shows, they're always like really big and like theoretical and stuff. So
I'm
that
gonna
was
suss
fun.
like, this out, man.
Yeah, like Eureka Tower. I
pull
did a show at the
Yo,
Eureka
dope.
Tower.
That's
That was
awesome.
lit. Once I did a show on a boat. Did a show at Bondi. I did, and then when I was in London, like the locations where we were doing the shows were just really beautiful, old school, like fancy places. So that was cool.
I might be.
There's this,
I might get on this.
and then some shows aren't even shows. Like Fashion Week is just like an opportunity to showcase your collection, and if you want to do it in the form of a show, which is like the just like the classic way of doing it, you can. But then I did, I got booked for this client called Temperley, London, and her collection was literally a night of jazz. It was a jazz party.
Oh.
Yeah, and you just
That's
got like
a
really
vibe.
wasted, and you're not really required to like play any part. You're
Yep.
not. They
That's
kind
kinda
of just
different.
booked you because you were beautiful. That's why they
Okay.
booked you, and
Talk
they kind
that
of
talk.
wanted you. And they kind of just want you to just fill in numbers.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
like that
Be
was
there.
fun. Like went there, got dressed, and just got like wasted. And then I got sent home in a taxi.
Oh, okay.
You get
Let's
paid
go.
to be there, so it was lit.
That's awesome.
Damn.
I mean, I had a question. Probably should have asked it ages ago. But men, no, men in the industry, right? Do you work alongside a lot of like male models? And if you do, are they held to the same standard as the female models?
The standard is very different.
Yeah.
There's like a very distinctive difference as well, and it's like across like several different like aspects of it, but definitely don't get hold to the same standard, because I think we have as like females, and I think the majority of fashion is like female based. That's like breaking out now because it's not really gender based anymore. But I think like fashion itself, like the essence is very female. So I work with like a lot of female, and I think the male part, there's not much really opportunities for males and stuff unless
Okay.
it's like really commercial work
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But they're not really required to be like a certain size, weight, or anything. I think they're just required.
That's
to be
interesting.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Getting ideas?
He's definitely getting ideas, bro. Look at him.
Oh,
I think you just have to be standard. Like you can't be like twig thin
Yeah.
or like big or anything. But you can, like not everything is really like
Fashion over
weight
curve?
required.
Yeah, I love.
You don't have to be tall.
You do.
I'm so sorry, guys. Wait,
You have to be tall.
The
It's
tall
alright.
part, you've been
I think
disqualified.
to succeed, you just have to be tall.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
five,
sick.
5'5's not gonna do a no.
5'5".
About 5'5", bro.
Oh man, I guess what's in the works for you? What can people look out or any? I mean, right now it's pretty wild. But where can we see you next? What can we wait for coming from you?
I reckon I have a lot coming personally, and I just reckon follow my Instagram and look out for just content, and look out for my stories if you want humor or if you just want motivation.
Let's go.
Where can they follow you?
On Instagram, Internet Girls Club. It's the only effective social media platform I have.
Nice.
But yeah, just shoot me a follow if you guys are interested. But yes, I have a lot in stock visually, just with home shooting and home styling and kind of just retracing uni,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
But yeah, that I'll be sending out soon.
Nah, that's dope.
Oh,
That's dope.
nice.
Hey, yeah, man. We all got.
I think that's about it.
That's the
interrogation.
interrogation. We made it sound so intense in the beginning.
That was tense, but no. it was-
No, thank you so much for joining us.
thank you,
We've
thank
had a great time, lovely time getting to know you and
Thank
what you
you.
do in your work.
Nah, yeah,
and
it's honestly
yeah,
eye opening. Yeah, just
it is.
it's different.
Thank
Getting to
you.
see the
levels
inside
to it.
world or hearing about it
Yeah,
at least,
yeah.
Love
Happy to talk. Happy to be here with you
Yeah.
guys.
Well,
Make sure y'all check it out.
That's the one. Follow,
Yes,
share all that good stuff, and
Yeah.
that's it.
yeah.
Oh, is you doing the take?
End it.
He said, "This is not me. This is not my episode. All responsibility
I have
gone.
nothing to do with
I'm
it.
not.
Share some responsibilities.
Oh, you fam.
All right, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Disruption Podcast. Make sure you follow at Internet Girls Club.
Yeah.
Make sure you support. I don't know how you do that, to be honest, other than follow. But yeah, catch us for another episode next week. If you enjoyed that, you can follow, subscribe, do whatever you want
Oof,
for us.
look at him looking at
And
the camera, all intense like.
That's it. We'll catch you next week.
Nah, thank you for joining us,
All right,
man.
see you. Thanks, guys.
That's
Love
it.
y'all.
Bye.